Hello and welcome to the joint update of Next Stop News. Here's what we'll be discussing in this installment. It'll be a mixture of airplanes, ship, subway news, and fleet status news about MTA buses. With the Boeing 737 MAX 9s, on January 5th, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 experienced an incident where the plug door blew out completely, decompressing the plane and allowing people to get a frightening and unparalleled glance into the empty vacuum of space in the night sky from 16,000 feet above the ground. This prompted an NTSB investigation and was ruled as a problem with the flight equipment itself, the Boeing 737 MAX 9s. The door plugs were not bolted in correctly, and therefore 171 MAX 9s had to be grounded and inspected for this problem. Each plane has 2 plug doors, and it took roughly 10 hours to inspect each door. They were out of service for 3 weeks until January 26th, where Alaska ran Flight 1146 with a MAX 9 from Seattle to San Diego. 65 planes were brought back by Alaska during the week of January 28th. United brought theirs back to service on January 28th. Tickets will indicate whether or not one's plane is a MAX 9, in case some people are leery of riding them. Boeing definitely has to work on its safety standards. On January 25th, they did take a break from production to focus on quality control, but a one-day pause is not enough. Remember the MAX 8 fiasco in 2019? Boeing's greed cost hundreds of lives, all because they wanted to compete with Airbus by implementing unsafe systems on their planes that would allow them to equip a larger engine. You remember how that worked. Boeing wanted to put a larger engine so they could be more efficient, and because they did so, when the planes would take off, they would take off at a much greater angle than usual. So, they had to install an MCAS system that would tilt the angle of the plane back down to a reasonable amount. However, this MCAS system took over, basically developing a mind of its own, and tilted the plane towards their doom. While the planes would be going hundreds of miles with full speed, the MCAS system would tilt the plane down at a very unstable angle that would basically force the plane to nosedive into the ground, while the pilots had absolutely no control whatsoever. Due to the 2 incidents in 2018 and 2019, Boeing had to ground all of their MAX 8s in the spring of 2019. So what I'm saying is this is not the first time we've seen such an oversight error by Boeing. They definitely have to put safety over profits, or else this is going to continue to happen. First the MAX 8 and now the MAX 9? Good grief, I don't trust any of the MAXs y'all do anymore. This issue has gotten so out of hand that the head of the Boeing MAX program had to end up resigning on February 21st. I'm glad no one was hurt with this MAX 9 fiasco, but it is definitely a wake-up call for Boeing and transportation manufacturing industries as a whole. There are also other damning stories that can be addressed regarding Boeing. The FAA's audit found that Boeing often failed to meet quality control standards, which it has given the company 3 months to address. Boeing was fined $1 billion on March 5th, and the Department of Justice is now investigating them as of March 11th. There was a strong shake on a Boeing 787 on Chilean-Latam Flight 800, and there was recently a series of absolute bombshells that a whistleblower was bringing to light before his demise, which involved Boeing allowing defective parts to go missing, fetching substandard parts from scrap and fitting them to aircraft in production in order to rush them into service, and allowing 25% of oxygen mask to be found as problematic on their planes. It was also said on March 13th that Boeing deleted some of the security footage that showed what happened with the MAX 9 plug doors. Very suspicious. We also had the Icon of the Seas hit the waters on January 27th. This is now the world's biggest cruise ship, and it is as long as the height of the Empire State Building. It cost $2 billion to make and can hold 7,000 passengers. Its maiden voyage took place from the Caribbean. Amtrak and New Jersey Transit service between New York City and Philly was suspended due to signal problems on January 12th. As of January 13th, the AVL Liberties have supposedly passed their computer modeling test. As a result, they were approved for testing on the various regions of the Northeast Corridor, so you may have seen them running about throughout February as they prepare to enter service in the near future. On March 4th, Amtrak introduced push-pull service using 2 ACS 64s on trains on both ends, so it'll no longer be just a loose car at the end without an engine. This new implementation has been applied to 4 consists which run on some of Amtrak's daily trips. I believe they're also doing this to get ready to use the HHP8s again, which have also been testing throughout the Northeast Corridor. Omni came to Metro North's Hudson Rail Link on January 29th. Hartsdale on the Metro North line has been made accessible as of January 6th. Purdy Station was made accessible on February 22nd. It's been a year since the R211A Pilot Consist 4060-69 entered service. The R211As are still being mixed around. As it stands now, 6 out of the 7 grounded consists are in service, 3 more sets than last time. So, as a summary, we have 4060-69, 4070-74 with 4115-19, which re-entered as of December 24th, 4095-99 and 4105-4109, which re-entered on December 10th, 4110-14 and 4125-29, 4100-04 and 4120-24, which re-entered service on December 23rd or before, and 4130-39. 4060-4074 and 4095-4139 are all back in service. 2 sets or 110 car consist, 4080-84 and 4085-89 remain out of service. 4075-79 and 90-94 were at Coney Island Yard getting fixed up on January 5th, and both consists have since entered service. So the R211As are continuing to recover from their gearbox issues. Ironically, they were not the only new fleet to experience such an issue. The R160s, when they were new, even experienced this problem, as detailed by 2nd Avenue Sagas. 4150 to 4164 stayed at Coney Island until new deliveries began to arrive. 4165 to 69 were delivered on January 23rd, marking the first R211A delivery since October 18th, and breaking the months-long pause on deliveries. It was shifted to Coney Island Yard on January 25th. 4195 to 99 also arrived on January 25th, while 4190 to 94 arrived on February 1st. With the deliveries resuming, the R211As that were on hold at Coney Island, 4150 to 4164, were able to be shifted to Pitkin in preparation for A-line service. 4140 to 44 were sent to Pitkin on January 29th, 4160 to 64 and 95 to 99 were sent to Pitkin on February 5th at the latest. 4145 to 49 and 65 to 69 were sent to Pitkin on January 29th and were seen burn-in testing as of February 4th or before. They entered service on February 12th, being the 9th R211A to enter service, the 8th production R211A to enter service, and the 10th R211 consist to enter service in general. Meanwhile, 4140 to 44 and 4160 to 64 were seen burning in at Broadway Lafayette Street on February 10th while signed up as a C. This consist entered service on February 27th. 4150 to 59, a consist which arrived back in September, began burning in as of March 5th or before. 4170 to 74 were delivered between February 7th and 8th. 4175 to 79 were delivered to South Brooklyn Yard on February 14th. While 4180 to 84 were delivered to the South Brooklyn Yard on the Sims Management track on February 27th. 4185 to 89 were delivered to the South Brooklyn Railway on February 29th. These were the last 4100s to come in. Kawasaki made up for the fact that they couldn't deliver R211As for a good while by delivering 2 sets a week on average. 4190 to 94 was sent to Pitkin on February 9th. 4190 to 99 entered service on March 5th. That consist was seen moving around a bit on March 16th. 4205 to 4209 were delivered as of February 29th. 4200 to 04 are on property. 175 R211 cars are all here. No new R211As entered service between November 3rd, 2023 and February 12th, 2024. But of course, as formerly mentioned, 4145 and 65 broke the pause. Ironic that they enter service on the anniversary of the R42 retirement run on the A. Up to 4230 to 34 have been confirmed to be built as of January 19th. As of now, 15 R211s are in service, with 13 of them being R211As, and with the R211S preparing to enter service soon. R211Ts 4040 to 44 got flags as of January 12th or before, so 4040 to 4059 all have them now. 4040 to 49 was vandalized by graffiti at Pitkin on January 14th. Sometime in January 2024, before January 14th, 4040 to 44 was seen testing on 8th Avenue. It was announced on January 20th that they were slated to debut on the C line due to management not wanting them to run on the express tracks due to potential clearance issues in the event of an emergency. They would apparently need special permission to run on certain express tracks, specifically from Hoyt to Euclid and from 59th to 125th, basically Central Park West and Fulton. So it was thought to be easier to relegate them to the local tracks. Richard Davey confirmed this on January 25th. They are said to have no design flaws. This was merely done as a safety precaution. There are several ways that having an articulated train run local will benefit safety in comparison to it running express, including more opportunities to evacuate at reasonably spaced intervals if necessary, and less spontaneous and sudden gangway motion. They were debuted to the public on February 1, 2024, on the same day that Lewis Hamilton announced that he would switch from Mercedes to Ferrari, with an inaugural run on the C line at 11:22 a.m. from 168th Street, using a hard and soft shell mix, 40/40 to 44 and 40/50 to 54. I made a special trip to Manhattan to ride them on February 2nd. Gotta say, riding between the cars feels like a roller coaster ride. It essentially feels like two long train cars, and going back and forth for me was a fun workout. I, like many others, appreciate the soft shells a little more than the hard shells, as they're more aesthetically pleasing to look at, and it feels like you're on an articulated bus when you're on the soft shell. The whole train feels like a giant caterpillar. I'm glad it's on the C, as it gives the line the first taste of a 10-car train in years. Many were naturally hyped up over this, and many of us went on the first and second days. I got to meet a lot of you, and I'm glad about that. This gives us our first open gangway experience since the days of the BMT C and D type cars, as well as other equipment that the BMT had produced. It experienced a door malfunction at Chambers Street on February 3rd, which reset the 30-day revenue test. 4045 to 49 and 4055 to 59 entered service on the C on February 5th, but were quickly taken out of service when the latter consist was stuck to L last stop signage, and due to a malfunction at West 4th Street. However, it re-entered service the next day. R211S 100 to 104 got flags on December 12th and resumed testing on the island on January 13th, this time in the daytime. 105 to 109 have been built as of January 11th and were spotted at Yonkers, while R211S's 110 to 114 were also seen at Yonkers on February 16th. Markers were placed on Staten Island Railway stations as of March 12th in preparation for the 30-day test. As the R211Ss prepare to enter service, R44Ms 423 and 452 were retired, reducing the R44M count to 57 cars. R179s 3045 to 49 took a trip to Jamaica around September 27 to October 3rd. Various R179s and R160s have been shifting back and forth between East New York and 207th Street Yard. 4 to 6 consists of R179s from East New York have been in rotation with 207th Street Yard. There was a gap in the presence of R160s on the C from January 30th to February 20th. However, this era was rekindled on February 20th with 8405 to 8408 and 8569 to 8572. R142A 7621 to 25 and 7641 to 45 took a trip to Pitkin on January 10th to receive and test out a new brake package, which has gotten the chance to test in the Rockaways between March 15th and 16th. According to Subways.io, it is a Wabtec MetroFlex braking package which is more advanced and used on trains in Paris and Singapore. So does this mean more or less buckle? R142s 1201 to 1205 are apparently retired as of February 2nd and are currently being used for parts. R32s 3472 to 73, 3876 to 77, 3872 to 73, 3740, 3419, iconic pair, and 3730 to 31 were sent from Pitkin to 38th Street Yard for scrapping. The preserved R32 consist was seen on the move on December 5th. As of December 15th, the MTA announced that the G line will be receiving CBTC rebuilds through the fall of 2024, replacing the 80-year-old signal system. They will be doing most of the work during late nights and weekends. The G train will be truncated between Church Avenue and Bedford-Nostrand Avenues, and a shuttle will cover the rest of the service, which is being worked on. As of February 28th, ATO is fully active on the Queens Boulevard line, from Union Turnpike to 50th Street on the E and to 21st Street Queensbridge on the F. Congratulations! Culver CBTC is done as of March 2nd. R142s and R142As are beginning to receive midlife overhaul. The experimental program, which was exclusive to 7021 and 7171, has now spread to R142 6776 to 80 and 7061 to 65 as of February 26th. 7041 to 45 also have these LEDs. Due to the fact that 7501 to 7510 also has this tech, I wouldn't be surprised if the R188s on the 7 also began to receive LEDs. Due to a large increase in subway crime, Governor Hochul announced on March 6th that she would deploy 750 National Guard troops into the subway to accompany the NYPD and transit police. This took effect on March 10th. Crime is so bad that even the Westfield is trying to back out of owning the Fulton Center. But as they are part of a 20-year lease and only 10 of those years have gone by, they are stuck in the agreement. Regarding the 2nd Avenue subway and Governor Hochul's State of the State, Phase 5 of the 2nd Avenue subway from Lexington Avenue to Broadway via 125th Street was all but confirmed. The tunnel boring machines will create a provision to Broadway, with station provisions being placed at Lenox, St. Nick, and Broadway. What this means is that Phase 5, or 125th Street Crosstown, has been integrated into the construction of Phase 2, which will act as a cost-saving measure, saving up to $400 million. As Brian has pointed out, 125th Street Crosstown will likely be like 10th Avenue on the 7. The option to build it is always there as the infrastructure already exists. This is the extension we always needed but never knew until recently. When Phase 5 of the 2nd Avenue subway is built, hopefully there will be no more need for the M125. This bus single-handedly shafted all of Mabastoa. I didn't even know it was possible until the M125 was created. It literally destroyed everything. West Farms, Gun Hill, Kingsbridge, Tuskegee, Manhattanville, Mother Clare Hill, Michael J. Quill, 7 depots, all screwed because of one bus route. Hopefully, the need for the M125 will be drastically reduced and or completely done away with once Phase 5 of the 2nd Avenue subway goes into existence. This will occur sometime in the 2030s. If you want to get an idea how this will look, check out King of Trains' New York City Transit Authority DE runs on the Q and T line in trains. The link to those will be in the description. R46 consists 5714 to 17 derailed in the Coney Island yard on December 20th. On January 4th, 2024, we experienced a derailment. Here's how it allegedly went down. 2275 to 71 and 2176 to 2180 had a series of emergency brakes pulled by vandals, and therefore the consist had to be taken out of service with the front isolated, so the train was driven from the middle, with supervisors or spotters in the front, to make sure that the train was driven safely while the lead car 2275 was disabled. It went onto the express track to bypass local traffic. At 96, while the train was switching back onto the local track to deadhead to 240th Street Yard, the trip arm did not work and 2275 crashed into 2415, which was operating as the lead car of a one train in normal service, consists being 2415 to 2411 and 2206 to 2210. When I saw that one train on the express track, I immediately knew who was in the wrong. Either the crew, flagger, or lineup dropped the ball heavily. So the involved consists were 2415 to 2411 with 2206 to 2210, and 2275 to 71 with 2176 to 80, with 2415, 2414, and 2275 being the most impacted. The two trains bumped into each other at 96th Street in the afternoon. Extensive damage was done to 2275, and 2411 to 2415 had to be re-railed and placed on unpowered trucks. I believe 2176 to 80, 2206 to 10, and 2411 to 14 were removed from the scene on January 5th. On January 6, 2271 to 75 and 2415 were pulled away from the scene of the derailment by Locomotive 59 with unpowered trucks. As of February 28, 2176 has been stripped for parts and has been replaced by a Westchester R62A single, 1934. This derailment prompted an NTSB investigation, and protocol will definitely be modified due to this. This incident is similar to something that occurred at Forest Hills on the Queens Boulevard line in the 70s. Due to this, one train service was split in two sections, between 137 and 242nd Streets, and between 42nd Street to South Ferry. This service pattern existed on January 4th. Then, from January 5th to 6th, service was split between 242nd and 96th Streets, terminating on the downtown side only, with trains going back uptown running express from 96 to 137 due to the configuration of the tracks, and then from 42nd to South Ferry in another section. Select 1 trains even made it to Barclays Center on the downtown half on January 6th. Meanwhile, the 2 ran via the 5 to go uptown and then via the 7th Avenue Local to go downtown. The 3 ran between 148th and 96th Streets and between 42nd and New Lots via express uptown and local downtown, due to the configuration of the tracks. On the first day, however, I believe it ran as a shuttle between 135th and 148th and then between 42nd and New Lots, that being on January 4th. Service was mostly restored on January 7th with some delays. On January 10, 2024, not even a week after the 1 train derailment, an R160 on the F experienced a derailment. The consist was 9557 to 53 and 9338 to 42. Cars 9339 and 9340 experienced the worst of the derailment between Neptune Avenue and West 8th Street, New York Aquarium. Allegedly, it was due to the rail conditions, this area of track not being worked on in time. This caused some F trains to end up terminating at J Street, Church Avenue, Kings Highway, and Avenue X. There was also a broken rail at Lexington Avenue 59th Street on the same day. This only goes to show why track maintenance and safety standards are so important. We do not want to become the next MBTA. On February 2nd, there was a train with a mechanical problem at 149th Street Grand Concourse, which caused 2 trains to run to Harlem 148th Street as well as 137th Street, while 5 trains went to Burnside. An R62-4 train was present for a GO on January 27th. R142s and R142As were present on the 6th on December 10th and January 20th to 21st for a GO, which sent the 6th train to 149th Street Grand Concourse as a terminal. Various R188s on the 7 received oil on their roofs as of January 11th to discourage subway surfing. The practice has been seen at least 120 times last year and led to 5 deaths in 2023, according to ABC 7. NYPD drone program has been set up on the 7 in October to monitor and alert assistance if necessary. On November 7th, an R160 consist was spotted on the W. It included 9253 to 57 and 9383 to 87. Concerning the 63rd Street fixation project, the Brooklyn-bound tracks are now receiving repairs. This project is expected to last until April 1st, 2024. Which is likely why many of the Stengel NextGens continue to persist in service. The termination of this project, along with the 2024 XE40s displacing equipment, will take care of the remaining NextGens there. The MTA now has 150 accessible stations. 181st Street on the A became accessible on December 7th. Beat 67th Street became accessible on January 12th. Tremont Avenue on the B and D became accessible as of February 27th. 137th Street on the 1 is getting an elevator as of December 7th. Westchester Square is slated to be accessible by May of 2024. The passageway at 14th Street and 6th Avenue was reopened as of December 11th after a renovation giving it brighter lights and a concrete floor. Lexington Avenue 53rd Street's escalators reopened as of December 14th or before. Credit to Getty Square, MTA Train, and MTA Train Productions. More stations have either gotten or were announced to be getting renovation. These being Marble Hill, 66th Street on the 1, Sutter Avenue on the 3, Fort Hamilton Parkway, Yankee Stadium and 170th Street on the 4, Aberdeen Street on the L, Van Wyck on the E, Rockaway Avenue, 57th on the M, 2nd Avenue on the F, Archer Avenue, and Shepherd Avenue on the C. 116th Street received an Omni machine as of February 9th. 75th Street and Woodhaven Boulevard on the J and Z have been receiving extensive rebuilds. The Jamaica-bound side of 75th Street reopened on January 17th as a narrow platform. So we have now seen the onset of 3 station rehabilitation methods: renovation, ESI, or a complete station rebuild altogether. On January 20th, 191st Street on the 1 received experimental platform screen fences to help increase passenger safety. Clark Street on the 2 and 3 got them as of January 27th. Morgan Avenue and Rockaway Parkway on the L got them in February. And West A Street is still slated to get them. I wonder if this replaced the more official plan to place them at Times Square, 3rd Avenue, and Sutphin Boulevard. Though it is far less advanced than we had hoped for, and then technology in other countries, it is still a start. We will see how this plays out. Additionally, barriers were also placed at Lexington Avenue 125th Street on February 26 to discourage people from standing too close to the conductor. Meanwhile, emergency doors at Lexington Avenue 59th Street, Flushing Avenue, and 138th Street Grand Concourse were tweaked to open with a 15-second delay to combat fare evasion in February. The MTA's Instagram reached 100,000 followers on January 17th. The MTA updated their Omni fare capping system as of November 1st, now only requiring people to pay $34 in a week before the rest of their weekly trips become free. The R1 and R9 event continued through December, running on 5 consecutive weekends. On the last day, December 30th, it experienced a mechanical issue and served as a display train at 2nd Avenue for the rest of the day, due to the fact that it had experienced this mechanical issue. The official Queens Bus redesign plan released on December 12, 2023. It had received a few changes from the initial draft plan released in late March of 2022. For instance, the Q44 Select Bus service is no longer slated to receive an extension to Fordham Plaza. The Q50 and Q51 will no longer become Select Bus service routes. The Q50 is no longer becoming a Select Bus service route. It will become a limited to LaGuardia, though. The Q51 is also not pursuing the Select Bus service route when it goes into existence. The Q4 will not run to Elmont. The Q16 will no longer run via F. Lewis. The Q65 to Flushing will be cut. There will be a lot of routes on Union. The Q86 will be formed. The Q33 will go back to LaGuardia Airport. The Q26 will become more useful. The Q38 will become more straightforward. The Q98 will be a faster version of the Q58. The Q77 will interline with the Q110. The Q110 will go to Floral Park. The QM10, QM11, and QM40 will be sticking around. The Q21 will cease to exist. The Q112 will go to East New York. Grand Avenue might get the Q98. The Q75 will go to Briarwood rather than Kew Gardens. The Q21, 34, Q100, 102, 113, QM3, B24, and B32 will still die. The Q10 and Q64 merge has been thrown out. The Q32 and Q60 will have minor route changes. Will not stop at Queens Plaza on their way to Midtown. The Q38 will be cut. The Q39 will not be at Court Square anymore. The Q55 will serve 121st Street. The Q59 to Williamsburg Bridge will be cut. Q47 will be cut. Q23 will be cut, replaced by the Q14. More B62 trips. Many of the redesigned routes are slated to run to the new 168th Street terminal rather than the 165th Street terminal that is currently in existence. So, we are still awaiting 168th Street to be built. Credit to Brian, David Harrow, Omar, and others for noticing these changes. If you want to read more about the Queens Bus redesign, the link will be in the description below, or in the pinned comment. Transsee experienced a massive outage from February 27th to March 3rd, temporarily disabling site usage and data recall. Following the heels of other outages such as AT&T's on February 22nd and Facebook and Instagram's on March 5th and March 11th, this was quite concerning. All 5 LFSE Pluses that we are supposed to receive have been built as of December 24th. 9620 was also sent to Nova's Canada plant on that same day. Several LFS HEVs were sent to Nebra as of December 27th. At Gun Hill, 2010 LFSA 1226 returned to service on February 7th on the BX22 after being idle for several months. They also received several LFSA loans and/or transfers from West Farms throughout the winter, listed here. They also got 9800, 9807, and 9837 as loans from Manhattanville on January 4th. 4040 and 4415, 2 training next-gens, and 2019 LFS 8708 were sent to Eastchester Scrap as of January 10th, the latter due to a fire on December 4th, 2023. The scrap lot is getting nicely filled up, as we will discuss later. Kingsbridge received 4684, 9761, 75-76, and 9860 as loans from Manhattanville in February. Manhattanville got 9622 and 9636 from Tuskegee. increasing their stolen HEV count from Tuskegee to 5, 96, 22, 24, 36, 37, and 39. We picked the best units. Tuskegee only has 15 HEVs from their initial allotment. Everything else is a loan. At this point, the M31 might as well be a Manhattanville route. Buses like 96, 95 are mainstays for the M31, while NextGens, XDEs, and other HEVs also hold down the fort for them as well. As the roof repairs for Quill have been finished, the M66 went back to Quill, while the M60 remained at Hale. The 2019 XD40s that were at Manhattanville returned to Quill when the winter pick went into effect. 75, 75 to 76 were the first to return to Quill, while 75, 72, and 75, 88 were the last. All XD40s returned to Quill on January 5th, except for the latter two, which returned on January 6th. So Quill got 75, 72 to 75, 91 back, along with 75, 68, 21 units, in preparation for the M66's return. 75, 68's presence at Quill makes up for 75, 92 being gone. With that, Manhattanville is now a fully hybrid depot again. It was great while it lasted, the diesel era that is. We had them for 9 months, which is longer than we were initially slated to. 9597 and 9910 were present on the M66 on its last day under Manhattanville, January 6, 2024. 4672 ran on the fare-free M116 on January 21st, which was pretty rare. 4668 has allegedly become a parts bus as of January 31st. 5510 was signed up as an M4 on December 16th due to it being on the 1 shuttle. On February 13th, we experienced a massive winter storm, the likes of which hasn't been seen since the days of early 2021 and 2022 in terms of quality. This storm brought interborough loans, such as Coneheads and other LFSs, to Gun Hill, Manhattanville NextGens and XD40s to Kingsbridge and Tuskegee, and 2015, 2019, and 2022 XD40s to Manhattanville. Here are some cool pics that Neoplant and Windows took of the action. 4966 also touched the M79 briefly. I got to see it later on in the day on the M55. Mabistoa got the most notable loans. However, Manhattan got nothing in comparison to Suffolk County, which received over 7 inches of snow, with 4662 on the BX1 and BX2 and 4669 on the M100 on February 13th. These could be the last instances of NextGens running on Kingsbridge routes. On February 16th to 17th, another winter storm occurred, which allowed standards to run on Arctic routes, albeit with limited interborough loans. 9025 ran on the Q52 Select Bus service, and 9273 ran on the Q53 Select Bus service in its infancy on February 17th. Quill received various LFSAs, XD60s, and XDE40s as loans, as well as some LFS HEVs and NextGens. 6285 also made a brief stop to Michael J. Quill on December 5th. The most notable loan, however, was 9557, an Allison XDE40 from Grant, which got Michael J. Quill stickers and stayed at the depot from December 12th to the 27th. This was likely given in exchange for 4965. XD40 7611 to 7613 lost their virtual mirrors as of December 11th. Guess that the test was unsuccessful. E-mirrors were also removed from XD40 7451 as well, but it is assumed that 7451 is still testing the wider door pilot for the bus driver. As violence continues to escalate, it is well needed for bus drivers in our agency as well as others. Hale also received various LFSAs, XDE40s, LFS HEVs, and NextGens from several depots in Mabistoa, listed here. They also gave 5446 and 5456 bike racks, increasing their racked LFSA total to 15. Tuskegee used all of Manhattanville's NextGens as snow loans on January 5th. As of December 7th, all Tuskegee Airmen XD60s, the ones that actually belong to them, have been outfitted with Villanova screens. Casey Stengel continued receiving flurries of 2011, 2015, 2019, and 2022 LFSs as loans from Jamaica and Queens Village. A list of them is shown here. Meanwhile, they also loaned 8907 to Queens Village and 8938 to Jamaica. They loaned 8888 to Queens Village as well. 5998, 6010, 22 to 23, and 26 are now wrapped in the local scheme, making for a total of 28 2017 XD60s, which are wrapped for Q12 or Q44 select service. Jamaica sent 7548 to Eastchester Scrap on February 2nd as they ran out of room to store it. Looks like that unit in 7507, making it to Gun Hill, won't be a reality after all. 7507 is now at Zariga as of March 10th. 4682 and 7377 did a one-day stint on the Q5 on March 8th. Really? Right when I was in Jamaica? At Grand, a couple XE60s, 4951, 55, 59, 61, and 64, shuffled to and from Grand Avenue during December. Mostly the CMF, but still interesting to see nonetheless. 2023 XE40, 4965 also hung out there a little while, from December 9th to the 20th, mostly running on the B62, but even running on the B38, which I do find to be cool. It then went to the JFK vendor on December 27th. 7304 to 05 have returned to Flatbush. Their stolen XD40 count is now at XX units. Concerning the 2023 XE40s 4965 to 66, both units have been all over the place. Grand Avenue, the JFK vendor, Quill, then back to Grand, even one of them going to Tuskegee. They're literally bouncing around all over the place. At this point, half of their lives are just spent out of service, at a vendor, at a CMF, or at a maintenance facility. All XE40s are likely built as of March 13th, with 5008, likely an East New York unit, being spotted as of March 6th. East New York got 4068 on January 2nd and 4104 as loans from Fresh Pond, the latter of which ran on the B83 on January 30th. 4200 retired, as it hasn't run since January 10th. They also got various 2015 and 2019 to 22 XD40s as loans from Fresh Pond and Grand Avenue and Flatbush throughout January. Fresh Pond got several 2015 XD40s as loans from Grand Avenue throughout the winter, many of which are listed here. Meanwhile, their youngest 2022 XD40, 7853, is now a year old. At Omer, 2011 XD40 4879 had his back blown out by an engine fire on January 20th. However, like XM40 808, it is very likely to be fixed. They also got 6058, 7133, and 7964 as loans between January 23rd and 24th. Yukon gave 8721 a bike rack. Their racked LFS count is now 23 units. Several Prevosts were sent to Zariga on December 31st. Castleton received 2432, 38 to 39, 2508, 12, 53 to 54, and 56, and 1582 and 87 from Meredith and Yukon as loans and or transfers, while they loaned 2501, 2650, 64, 2731, and 2753 to Meredith. If the 2700s to Castleton are official transfers, then the age of 2015 to 16 Prevost at Meredith is over. However, it is believed that only 2756 is still there. Not that it will matter anyway, as Meredith is now alleged to be closing in August of 2024, due to its 15-year lease expiring. 2645 and 2673 returned from their IDA damages on December 16th and December 11th respectively. 2535 ran on the S89 on December 26th. 2603 and 2628 ran on the S89 on January 12th. 2251 returned to Queens Village from Charleston. Yukon got 2511 and 2789 as loans. As of March 3rd, Green Mountain Transit in Vermont plans to send 7 2013 MCI D4500 CTs numbered from 930 to 936 to MTA New York City Transit due to changes in ridership, maintenance staffing costs, and repair costs as well. So all in all, New York City Transit will be getting 7 more MCIs to bolster their fleet. As if we thought the Castleton CTs were going to retire anytime soon, we're getting even more MCIs. Wow. Eastchester received 9360 to 9387, increasing their total from 5 to 33 out of their 34 needed long roof XD40s, nearly completing their allotment. I love how New Flyer always goes in order. 9372 was seen on the way to New York City on December 19th and arrived on January 11th. They came at a reasonable pace, though the depot did take a while to put them in service. Once they did, however, there was no stopping them. Some of the new XD40s have been making occasional trips to Zariga. 9361 was one of the first to arrive in this new batch. They're shifting out the next gens in numerical order. They sent 4020 to 3781 and 4140 to JFK to help them retire the old gens. While shifting those next gens, their bike racks were removed, but they haven't been placed on the XD40s yet. Their next gen count has dropped from 30 to 8 units. After a 4-week pause in Conehead reception, which lasted through much of November and December, Baisley Park received 89, 66, 68, 70, 73, 75, 83, 94, and 9004, increasing their total to 36 out of their 46 needed Coneheads. 8975 has been chilling in New Jersey from July 21st, 2023 to February 2nd, 2024, as they gave 3976 and 84, 4119, 4202, 04, 78, and 4601 to JFK, and retired 4392 and 4454, their next-gen total is down from 19 to 10 units. They also loaned 4052 and 4454 to JFK on January 4th and 4626 on December 12th. JFK received 9011, 16 to 17, 27, 30, 33 to 34, 36, 39, 41, 43, 45 to 48, 53, 56, 59 to 61, 63 to 64, 68, 70, 74, 78, 80, 83, 86, 91, 17 to 18, 25, 27, 31, 34, 38, and 91, 51. 37 more units, increasing their total to 57 Coneheads. 9118 was the first Order 2 Conehead to arrive on February 23rd, but 9127 was the first Order 2 unit to enter service, doing so on February 26th on the Q8. 9014 ran on the Q52 Select Bus service on December 27th. 9043 ran on the Q21 on January 1st, the first official Conehead to run on a Far Rockaway route besides being a school tripper. It then ran on the Q35 on January 6th, the first time a Conehead ever graced that route. 9010 and 13 subsequently went to Far Rockaway. 9314 was the first 2023 XD40 to arrive to JFK, doing so on March 8th. 9313 and 15 to 18 arrived shortly after. They now have 6 units on property. And 9315 began doing driver training on March 11th. These are the first XD40s that JFK has ever received, but I'm sure they'll quickly get the hang of them. They retired 3506, 22, 32, 35, 37, 57, 60, 69, 36, 13, 39, 44, 49, 55, 61 to 62, 64 to 65, 67 to 68, 70, 75, 77, 82 to 83, 87, 93, 95, 3706 as Zariga, 3710, 12 to 13, 16, 22, 43 to 46, 50, 52 to 54, 59 to 61, and 3763, around 43 to 44 units. This was the quickest retirement pace I've seen since 2019. They really want those old gens out. Their time is over. The era of the Far Rockaway decal buses, namely 3662 and 3744 in the past, running at JFK is now over. 3506 was the last 2006 old gen at JFK and the last Luminator Horizon signed unit in the fleet. Its last run was January 13th on the Q35, and it retired on January 22nd. They got 3976 from Baisley, which I saw on his first day of being transferred, which was December 19th, as well as 3984, 420204 from Baisley Park, and 4020 to 37, 4081, and 4140 from Eastchester, and 4257, 4365, 4445, 84, and 4680 from LaGuardia. Around 29 to 30 units transferred in total, and retired 3802, 06, 08 to 10, 13 to 14, 16, 19, 22, 3860, 11 Hawkers, no! 3984, 4023, 37, 42, 4081, 4117, 45, 53 to 54, 57, 42 33, 43 58, sent to Yonkers post-retirement, 46 36, 39, and 46. 26 units in total, 3 of which were recent transfers, which is insane. The fact that they're killing old gens, hawkers, and recent transfers, JFK has officially become the killing field. Their old gen total is now 7 units. They gave all their attention towards retiring the remaining old gens, using other old gens for a time, Coneheads, ex-Baisley Park, and ex-Eastchester next gens to do so. And now even ex-LaGuardia next gens and new XD40s. They really used every tactic imaginable to slaughter the old gens. Their next gen count is now 132 units. They maxed out at 153 next gens. With old gens, hawkers, spectrums, other lithiums, and coneheads, Order 1 and 2 units, as well as the new XD40s, JFK is currently the most diverse depot at MTA Bus in terms of its standard fleet. Unlike Manhattanville, which retired their old gens before they ever got the chance to see an Excelsior, JFK has elected to hang on to their remaining old gens by the time that the XD40s were delivered to them. LaGuardia continued to send NextGens and XD40s to College Point as loans, while their C40s received more maintenance. But the most notable loans were 3594, which ran on the Q34 and Q65 on January 8th, and 3736, which ran on the Q23 on December 18th, which used to be a LaGuardia route, so that's cool seeing that. They also loaned a few coaches to College Point as well. They retired 4408 and 3594 and 3736 on January 29th, using all three of them for parts, and ending the 18-year era of old gens there once and for all, 14 months later than initially expected. They ran on borrowed time, remaining alive from the fall of 2022 until the winter of 2024, and continuing to be useful and enduring, surviving various new next-gen transfers for over a year, shocking us all in the process. 3594's retirement also marked the end of the 2006 old gen fleet as a whole, leaving only 2007 old gens at JFK for a little while longer. These units were sent to Eastchester Scrap on February 9th to February 10th and were replaced by 4119, 4278, and 4601 from Basie Park. As they sent 4119, 4278, and 4601, the three very same units, to College Point as official transfers as of January 29th, as well as some other units around February and March, and retired 3962, 75, 4011, 74, 87, 4267, 4376, 4393, a training unit, 4408, 50, 96, 4531, 48, and 82, and sent 4257, 4365, 4445, 4484, and 4680 to JFK. Their next-gen total is now around 118 units. They maxed out at 138. They received 9274 on February 7th, making it their first 2023 XD40 to arrive. 9273 was then delivered to them 2 days later. 9275 was spotted at the JFK vendor on February 6th. It was then delivered to LaGuardia along with 9276 on February 14th. 9273 to 74 were the first 2023 XD40s to enter service at LaGuardia. 9274 on the Q69 and 9273 on the Q67 and Q29, reactivating a hype not felt since 2015. 9274 followed 9273 around on its first day of service. They both ran on the Q69 on February 20th. They have since received 9272 to 9291, increasing their total to 20 out of 40 needed long roof XD40s. They are halfway done with their allotment. They received these units straight from the JFK vendor. It's so weird to see. It kind of gives all Grand Avenue vibes, and they kind of look fresher than the ones at Eastchester. The current plan for the XD40s is to have 34 units, 9354 to 87 at Eastchester, as is almost the case, and 40 units, 9272 to 9311 at LaGuardia, while 42 units, 9312 to 9353, are split between JFK and Far Rockaway. Spring Creek received 4633 and 4650 as loans from JFK in late December. Here are some other loans which various depots received from December to now, which I didn't cover previously in this video. Why do depots gotta take from others, man? It's almost like I now expect to see a LaGuardia bus on a College Point route. And it's like when I see a Tuskegee bus on a Tuskegee route, it feels strange now. Here are some notes. JFK and LaGuardia's next-gen totals were tied at 137 around February 27 to 28. 200 MTA Bus old gens lasted longer than the Orion V's. JFK Conehead 9127 was delivered around the same time that M9 9127 was redelivered, around February 24th to 25th. There will be a 24 bus surplus due to the new orders, as 424 buses will be replacing 400 Orions. 9006, 9017, 9041, and 9356 were untrackable for a brief period of time. 9356 had broken suspension on January 15th. And finally, here are some other notes that I wrote regarding the Coneheads and XT40s for MTA Bus. We are currently up to 104 Coneheads for MTA Bus, with 93 of those units being delivered to their respective depots. We have 313 Conehead units in total, combined with New York City Transit and MTA Bus. As of January 24th, more Order 1 Coneheads are here than not here. 9070 was the 70th LFS Conehead unit to arrive. 195 out of 308 Coneheads have been confirmed to be built as of March 4, 2024. Many second-order MTA Bus Coneheads are confirmed to be built, with a few being in service at JFK. Here are the units that are confirmed as of now. 9079 is at the New Jersey vendor, while 9059, 81, 9110 to 11, 14, 26, 29, 9150, 52, 56, and 9167 are all at the JFK vendor. At the current rate, the Conehead and XD40 orders for MTA Bus should be done by the summer of 2024, expelling all remaining old gens and next gens there. The old gens are soon to be history in New York City. The oldest units were able to make it to 18 years old before dying in January of 2024. The hawkers are about to fade into obscurity, and not even recently transferred units are safe, as previously evidenced. The next gens, as the endangered retiring fleet next up to be wiped out, have now become one of the most interesting fleets in New York City as a result. With the Coneheads and XD40s coming in strong, and now making their presence known at LaGuardia, no Orion anywhere is safe. Orions as a whole have never been in more danger in various agencies as they are now, and the age of loans that is so very well defined the last few months is continuing to persist throughout the depots in the city. With 4119, 4278, 4557, and 4601 being at College Point, this marks the first time next gens are officially assigned to them. And that means that 3 of the 4 units have passed through 4 MTA Bus Queens depots. So in conclusion, there are too many things happening at once to keep up with. You got R211s coming back in full swing, R211Ts entering service, Eastchester and Baisley Park eviscerating their next-gen fleet, JFK extinguishing their old-gen hawkers and some of their lithiums, and other depots getting new flyers en masse, as well as other agencies in general. Credit to everyone that contributed to the making of this video. Thank you for watching the joint update with subway and fleet status, but not with other systems, sadly. Hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe, stay blessed, stay healthy, stay hyped, and thank you for riding with Next Stop News. And before you go, as a way of showing my thanks to everybody that has contributed to the update, I have elected to include a new section entitled Featured Photos. Without further ado, enjoy.